Have you ever wondered why? No matter how many affirmations you repeat, how many vision boards you hang on your wall, or how many positive thoughts you try to maintain, life still seems to circle back to the same old patterns of lack and waiting. The secret is this: reality doesn't respond to what you say out loud. It responds to the vibration you truly embody. The universe doesn't hear slogans. It listens to the living frequency you transmit in silence. And the most powerful bridge between you and that reality is the alignment of your heart and your brain. We've been taught all our lives that thinking is the answer. Think harder, plan better, analyze longer, and eventually, success will come. But thought alone is like wind without a sail. It moves, but it doesn't carry you forward. What moves the ship of your life is when thought meets emotion, when the head and the heart sing in harmony. That's when reality bends. Not because you commanded it, but because you became the very tone that existence cannot help but echo back. Picture it this way. Your brain is a painter, sketching possibilities on an empty canvas. But your heart is the color, the brushstroke, the light that brings those sketches to life. Without the heart, the painting never leaves the page of imagination. It remains flat, lifeless, a dream you can see, but never touch. This is why so many people feel stuck. They think, I am worthy, I am abundant, I am free. But deep in their chest, they still carry anxiety, fear, and the ache of unworthiness. The words travel to the surface, but the vibration beneath whispers another story. And the universe, like a mirror, reflects not the mask you wear, but the energy you actually hold. The science behind this is just as breathtaking as the poetry. The HeartMath Institute has shown that your heart is not just a pump, it is a broadcasting station. Its electromagnetic field is thousands of times stronger than that of your brain. When you sit quietly and genuinely feel gratitude, or love, or appreciation, the patterns of your heartbeat become ordered and harmonious. That order radiates into the field around you, reaching far beyond your body. In that state, you're no longer begging the world to change. You are broadcasting a clear frequency that the world cannot help but respond to. Think of a radio. If the station isn't tuned properly, you hear static, distortion, fragments of sound that never make sense. That's how most of us live, thinking one thing, feeling another, and creating static in our field. But when the heart and the brain align, it's like turning the dial until the music comes through crystal clear. Suddenly, what you desire doesn't feel far away. It feels natural, familiar, inevitable. And this is where the magic, or what I prefer to call the deep science of life, unfolds. When you practice coherence, when you breathe deeply, soften your body, and feel authentic appreciation, your nervous system changes. Your stress hormones begin to fall. Your cells open like flowers turning toward the sun. Even your DNA responds, shifting the way your genes express themselves. You are not only thinking differently, you are becoming different. This is why practices of gratitude and love are so powerful. They are not moral instructions telling you to be nice. They are biological keys, unlocking the code that lets your entire being communicate with the quantum field. In that state, you don't need to force life into shape. You don't need to chase. You become magnetic. Opportunities, synchronicities, and people begin to flow toward you, not because you demanded them, but because you are vibrating at the same frequency they live on. I want you to imagine something. Imagine standing at the edge of a river. You've spent years trying to push the current in the direction you wanted, struggling, exhausting yourself, shouting at the water to move faster, and yet, the river keeps flowing its own way. Now imagine instead that you relax. Step into the water and let it carry you. You're no longer fighting. You're no longer demanding. You're being carried by the same intelligence that carved the mountains and birthed the stars. That's coherence. That's the silent frequency of trust. This doesn't mean you stop dreaming or desiring. It means you stop fighting your own energy. You stop declaring one thing with your mind while your body trembles in another story. You begin to feel now the life you long for, not as fantasy, but as a living memory you're allowing yourself to recall. Neville Goddard called this living from the end. Abraham Hicks calls it the vortex. Joe Dispenza calls it rehearsing the future. Different names, but the same truth: what you emotionally embody becomes what you energetically receive. So how do you begin? Start small. You don't need a grand ritual or a mountain retreat. You need a breath. Close your eyes. Breathe into your chest. Think of one thing, just one that you truly appreciate. It might be the warmth of your morning coffee, the way sunlight paints your living room floor, the simple fact that you are still here. Breathing. Hold that feeling for 30 seconds. Feel how your chest softens, how your breath slows, how your mind clears. That is coherence. That is your body and your soul, remembering they are not separate from creation but part of it. And from that state, imagine your future, not as a distant possibility, but as something alive in this moment. Hear the sounds of it. Taste the texture of it. Let your heart carry the weight of it, as if it were already real. That is not pretending. That is practicing frequency. The more often you do this, the more natural it becomes, until one day, you realize you are no longer hoping for it. You are living in it. This is why manifestation through force never works for long. Force creates resistance. Control creates exhaustion. But coherence creates magnetism. The most powerful vibration you can ever emit is not your voice shouting at the heavens, but your silent presence aligning with the truth of who you already are. When your heart and brain walk in step, the world rearranges without your struggle. The people you need arrive at the right time. The doors open without you pounding. The path unfolds without you chasing. Because in truth, the universe was never holding anything back from you. It was waiting for you to become the version of yourself who could hold it. So today, let go of the endless battle with your mind. Let go of the need to prove, to push, to earn worthiness. Sit quietly, breathe. Let your heart and your brain remember their song. And in that song, you'll discover what sages and scientists, mystics and modern thinkers have all been pointing to. Reality doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your being. And when your being is coherent, when thought, feeling, and presence unite, life begins to echo your frequency instantly. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now, because in the timeless field of possibility, everything you've ever desired is already alive. Your only task is to become the vibration that allows it to meet you. So ask yourself, not, how do I get there? But who am I willing to be right now? Because in the stillness of that choice, you discover the truth. The bridge was always inside you. The quiet, radiant connection between your heart and your brain. And once you cross it, nothing in your world remains the same. 1. The heart, a vast broadcasting field. The heart is not just a muscle pushing blood through your veins. That is what most of us were taught in school, but that is only a fragment of its truth. Beneath the biology lies something much deeper. The heart is a broadcasting station, a lighthouse of energy that shines far beyond your body. Each beat is not merely circulation, it is transmission. Imagine standing on a quiet shore, where a lighthouse casts its beam out across the fog. The light doesn't stop at the tower, it travels, reaching ships you cannot see. In the same way, your heart sends out a field of energy thousands of times more powerful than your brain's place. This field stretches beyond your skin, filling the space around you, touching people before words are spoken. It's why you can walk into a room and feel comfort in one person's presence and unease in another's, even if neither says a word. That sensing is not imagination. It is resonance. the invisible conversation of hearts. When your heart is tangled in fear, anger, or grief, the field becomes static. The broadcast is still there, but it is distorted, like a radio channel interrupted by noise. Others sense it unconsciously, and you feel it in the heaviness of your own body. Yet when your heart turns toward gratitude, compassion, or love, the static clears. The rhythm of your heartbeat organizes. Your breath softens. Your nervous system steadies. And suddenly your presence becomes magnetic. People feel safer around you. Circumstances align with less effort. Life seems to meet you halfway. This is not magic. It is coherence. The alignment of heart and brain that creates harmony in the electromagnetic field you project. Science now confirms what sages always suspected. The heart generates an electrical signal 60 times stronger than the brain, and a magnetic field 5,000 times stronger. These numbers are staggering, but they reveal something simple. Your presence is not confined to your body. You are always broadcasting. Whether you are conscious of it or not, words may lie, but vibration does not. You can whisper, "I am peaceful." Yet if your chest is tight with anxiety, the field carries the truth of your fear. The universe mirrors that. Because it doesn't respond to language, it responds to frequency. This is why gratitude and love are not sentimental luxuries. They are technologies of transformation. When you sincerely feel them, not as ideas, but as living warmth in your chest, your biology changes. Stress hormones fall. Your immune system strengthens. Your brain waves synchronize, and your body begins to speak the language the universe understands. You are not just thinking differently, you are becoming different. And when you become different, the world reflects it. Try this gently. Place your hand on your chest and breathe slowly, as though your breath is flowing directly into your heart. Think of one thing you deeply appreciate. Perhaps the smile of someone you love, the taste of cool water, or the light of morning breaking through your window. Let that appreciation expand until it fills your chest like sunlight. Stay there for half a minute. Notice how your body responds. Your breath steadies. Your shoulders soften. Your mind clears. In that moment, you have shifted your broadcast. You are not asking life to change. You are embodying the change. I speak of this as someone who has known the static of fear, the heaviness of despair, the endless cycle of trying to think my way into peace. For years, I repeated affirmations and crafted visions, but beneath the words, my heart still pulsed with doubt. Life kept echoing the frequency I truly carried, not the mask I wore. It was only when I surrendered to the wisdom of the heart, when I stopped shouting at the universe and began listening to the quiet rhythm in my chest, that the static eased. Slowly, my field reorganized. Gratitude softened the weight. Love began to flow again. And as my inner state changed, so did the world around me. This matters because we live in a society drowning in noise. We are taught to achieve more, think faster, prove our worth. Yet beneath the striving, what people are really searching for is resonance, a clear signal, a reminder of harmony. Your heart is that reminder. Each time you choose gratitude over resentment, compassion over judgment, you retune your broadcast. You not only heal yourself, you contribute to the collective field of humanity. The heart is not small. It is vast, radiant, and interconnected with life itself. So remember this: you do not need to wait for external proof to feel grateful, to feel loving, to feel whole. You can choose it now, and in choosing, your broadcast shifts. Reality then bends to the signal you send, not because you forced it, but because coherence has a gravity of its own. Like a lighthouse, your heart does not chase ships. It shines steadily, and in shining, it guides. That is the true miracle of the heart. Not only that it keeps you alive, but that it teaches you how to live. 2. Thoughts and feelings. Electricity and magnetism. The brain is often celebrated as the command center of our existence, the master conductor sending sparks of thought across its vast network of neurons. Those sparks are real. They are electrical impulses, tiny flashes of lightning within your skull. But electricity alone does not light up the world. A wire may carry current, but without a magnetic field to shape and extend its influence, the power remains locked inside. This is where emotion enters. If thought is electricity, then feeling is magnetism. Together, they form the full circuit of creation. When the two are aligned, you become like a living antenna, broadcasting a clear and steady frequency into the quantum field. Life hears it, not as a wish but as a truth. But when they are divided, when your mind insists on one story and your heart trembles with another, your broadcast becomes static. Imagine trying to tune into a favorite song while two different stations fight for the same frequency. The noise makes the melody disappear. That is exactly what happens when you say, "I am abundant." But beneath the words, your body still contracts in fear of not having enough. The universe, like that radio, picks up the strongest signal, the emotional one. And so, reality stalls. I remember seasons of my life when I clung to positive thoughts like a lifeline. I filled journals with affirmations. I visualized every detail of the future I longed for. Outwardly, it looked as if I had mastered the art of optimism. But inside, my chest ached with doubt. My nervous system braced itself for disappointment. Even as my mind painted grand pictures of success, it was like planting seeds in frozen soil. No matter how beautiful the seeds, nothing could grow until the ground thawed. That thawing only came when I allowed my emotions to catch up with my thoughts, when my heart began to feel safe enough to believe what my mind had imagined. Think of a magnet. Place iron filings around it, and they immediately arrange themselves into perfect patterns. Invisible lines revealed in the dust. Thought is like placing the filings on the table. It sets the scene, creates the possibility, but only when the magnet, the emotion, is present do the patterns appear. Without feeling, the filings remain scattered, random, unshaped. Without feeling, thought has no pull on reality. This is why many of us experience frustration. We recite affirmations, but feel the hollow echo in our chest. We make vision boards, but sense the quiet disbelief in our gut. The mismatch between electricity and magnetism keeps our energy fractured. It's not failure, it's physics. The field reflects what is coherent, not what is conflicted. So how do we bring them together? The answer is not to suppress fear or shame and paste positivity on top. That only deepens the divide. Instead, it begins with honesty. It begins with pausing long enough to admit, yes, my mind wants this, but my heart is still afraid. In that admission, space opens. The current of thought slows enough for feeling to rise and be acknowledged. And in that meeting place where mind and heart are both allowed to speak, coherence can be born. Coherence does not mean perfection. It does not mean you never feel fear again. It means that your thoughts and emotions stop pulling in opposite directions. It means you begin to let the warmth of gratitude melt the ice around your dreams. Gratitude is powerful because it bridges the gap. When you think of something you truly appreciate, your brain fires electricity. At the same time, your heart swells with warmth, creating magnetism. For a moment, the two dance together. That is the moment reality begins to respond. You may notice how different life feels when you live from that union. A conversation flows with ease. A stranger smiles, and you sense connection. Small synchronicities appear. An old friend calls at just the right time. An opportunity surfaces that you didn't plan for. These are not coincidences. They are reflections of coherence, evidence that your signal is clear. The danger is not in negative emotion itself, but in pretending it isn't there. Suppressed fear still vibrates. Ignored sadness still transmits. The universe responds not to the mask but to the essence beneath. Better to bring those feelings into the light, to breathe with them, to allow your heart to soften around them, than to cover them with words that your body does not believe. I think of it like learning to play an instrument. At first, your hands fumble, and the notes sound broken. That's the stage where thoughts and feelings are out of sync. But with practice, gentle, patient practice, the melody begins to emerge. Thought provides the structure, the sheet music, feeling provides the tone, the resonance. Together, they create music that moves the soul. So, as you walk forward, remember, your thoughts ignite, but your feelings attract. Together they form the language the universe cannot ignore. The field does not care about perfect affirmations. It cares about coherence. When the electricity of your thoughts and the magnetism of your feelings point in the same direction, your whole being becomes a signal too clear, too strong, to be overlooked. That is when reality shifts, not because you forced it, but because you finally became the station you were always meant to broadcast. And if you find yourself still caught in static, don't despair. Static means the current is moving, even if not yet in harmony. It means your heart is asking to be heard. Listen, breathe, allow, slowly. Thought and feeling will find each other, like two rivers converging. And when they do, your life will no longer feel like effort. It will feel like flow. 3. The Science of Coherence. When people hear the word coherence, they often think of logic or tidy reasoning. But the kind of coherence I am speaking about is something much deeper, something your body can feel before your mind even names it. Coherence is when your inner rhythms, your heartbeat, your breath, your brain waves fall into harmony. It is a state of balance that doesn't just bring calm to the mind, but also sends a clear, powerful signal into the world around you. Science has begun to map what ancient wisdom always suggested. The heart is not only an organ of survival, but a conductor of resonance. Studies from the HeartMath Institute have shown remarkable things. When people genuinely cultivate gratitude or appreciation, their heart rhythms shift into smooth, ordered patterns. Instead of jagged spikes on a graph, the rhythm becomes fluid, like a gentle wave rolling in and out of the shore. At the same time, brain waves begin to synchronize with these patterns, and the entire nervous system enters a state of balance. Stress hormones like cortisol begin to drop, while hormones like DHEA, the one sometimes called the vitality or anti-aging hormone, rise. The body doesn't just feel better, it begins to function as though it is being retuned to the music of life itself. I remember when I first saw a demonstration of this research. On one screen was the chaotic, jagged line of someone reliving frustration. Their heart rhythm looked like a storm, unpredictable and draining. On the other screen, the same person, minutes later, was focusing on something they deeply appreciated, perhaps a memory of holding their grandchild, or walking in the quiet beauty of nature. The line transformed. Suddenly, the storm became a wave. It was as if the heart had remembered its natural song, and you could see the immediate effect on their whole physiology. Their breath slowed, their face softened, even their posture changed. This is not imagination. This is biology responding to emotion, and energy responding to biology. What makes this so powerful is that coherence doesn't stay inside the body. The electromagnetic field generated by the heart expands outward several feet, influencing both the space around you and the people who step into that space. It's why sitting beside someone who is calm can settle your own anxiety, even without a word spoken. It's why being around someone in gratitude can lift your own mood, almost like catching a melody you hadn't realized you were humming. Coherence is contagious, because resonance always spreads. And this is where science meets spirit. When your heart and brain synchronize, your body becomes an exquisitely tuned receiver and transmitter. aligned with the natural frequencies of the earth itself. Scientists call this entrainment the heart's rhythm, syncing with the Schumann resonance, the earth's electromagnetic heartbeat. This is why stepping into a forest or standing by the ocean feels like medicine. Your body is remembering its natural coherence, harmonizing with a rhythm that has been pulsing since the beginning of time. But here's what matters most. Coherence is not just for monks or mystics. It is for you, here and now. In the middle of your daily life, you don't need to retreat from the world to practice it. It begins in simple moments. A slow breath into your chest, a pause to notice the warmth of gratitude, the choice to release a thought of anger and return to appreciation. Each small act shifts your biology, and through your biology, you're broadcast to the field. Think of your body as an instrument. When it's out of tune, the sound it makes is harsh, dissonant. But when tuned, even the simplest note carries beauty. Coherence is tuning your instrument, not by force, but by returning to what is natural. Stress, fear, resentment, these are distortions. Gratitude, compassion, love, these are harmonies. The science simply gives us the evidence of what the soul has always known. I have walked through seasons of deep incoherence. My thoughts raced. My heart pounded with anxiety. My body carried tension. I couldn't escape. In those times, life felt unyielding, like every door was locked. What I didn't understand then was that I was broadcasting chaos into the field, and the field, like a mirror, was reflecting it back. When I discovered coherence, it wasn't a mystical breakthrough. It was a quiet practice of breathing, of softening, of learning to let gratitude seep into my chest like water into dry soil. Slowly, the static cleared. Slowly, life began to reflect that clarity. Coherence doesn't erase hardship, but it changes how hardship moves through you. Instead of being shattered by challenges, you become steady, like a tree whose branches may sway, but whose roots remain anchored. Your body becomes a vessel not only for survival, but for resonance. And resonance attracts experiences, people, and opportunities that match its vibration. So the science of coherence is not an abstract theory. It is a doorway. It tells us that you are not helpless, that you are not merely at the mercy of circumstance. You carry within your chest a field so strong, it can reorder your biology, reshape your perception, and retune your relationship with the universe. When you practice coherence, you become both a receiver attuned to guidance, intuition, synchronicity, and a transmitter, sending signals of harmony into the collective field of humanity. And the beauty is that it doesn't take hours of meditation to access. Even 30 seconds of genuine gratitude can shift your heart rhythm, reset your nervous system, and begin a cascade of changes within you and around you. Those 30 seconds are like striking a tuning fork that continues to resonate long after the sound has faded. So when you hear the word coherence, I don't think of logic. Think of music. Think of the steady rhythm of waves. Think of the feeling of standing under a sky full of stars and sensing that you belong here. That is coherence. And the science simply proves what your heart already knows when you live in gratitude and harmony. You are not just healthier. You are aligned with the very frequency of the universe itself. 4. Breath, the bridge between body and mind. Breath is the first gift we receive when we enter this world, and the last we release when we leave it. Yet most of the time, we move through our days hardly aware of it. Short, shallow breaths pulled in and pushed out as we rush from one moment to the next. We forget that breath is more than survival. It is communication. Every inhale, every exhale is a message whispered into the nervous system, shaping the way our body feels and the way our mind perceives. When the breath is rushed and uneven, the body hears I am in danger. The heart speeds up, muscles tighten, Thoughts scatter. You can repeat 1,000 affirmations in that state, but your body will not believe them. You are trying to plant seeds in stormy soil. Yet when you breathe slowly, deeply, evenly, something begins to shift. The nervous system hears another message: I am safe now. And in that safety, the body softens, the mind clears, and the heart opens. I've lived through seasons when my breath betrayed me, held tight in my chest, shallow in my throat, as if life itself was being rationed. In those times, my body existed in survival mode. I worked hard to think positively, to visualize abundance, to pray for better days. But without breath, my efforts fell flat. The body remained locked in vigilance, unable to receive the very blessings I was calling in. Breath was the missing bridge. Only when I learned to slow it, to allow it, to trust it, did my thoughts and feelings begin to meet in harmony. Breath is simple, but it is not small. It is the thread that ties the physical and the spiritual, the anchor that steadies both the body and the mind. When you lengthen your inhale and soften your exhale, your heartbeat begins to sync with that rhythm. Brain waves respond. Hormones shift. The chemistry of fear gives way to the chemistry of peace. In that peace, you no longer manifest from desperation. You create from coherence. Imagine the body as a violin. If the strings are too tight, the music is sharp and frantic. If they are too loose, the notes collapse. Breath is the tuning peg, adjusting tension until harmony is restored. Without conscious breath, you may try to play the music of your life, but the sound will never feel quite right. With breath, the instrument aligns, and even the simplest melody carries beauty. Breath also teaches surrender. Unlike the beating of your heart, you can guide it. Unlike the workings of your mind, you can slow it. To sit and breathe with awareness is to let go of control while still participating. It is to say, I trust life enough to open. I trust the present moment enough to soften. And in that trust, new doors open. Not in the outside world first, but inside you. The door to love, the door to joy, the door to receiving what was always waiting for you. I often think of breath as the gentle tide of the ocean. You cannot force the tide to come in faster, nor can you hold it back when it recedes. You can only meet its rhythm, rise and fall with it, surrender to its intelligence. Breath invites you into that same rhythm, reminding you that life flows more easily when you stop fighting its currents. In practical terms, coherence through breath can begin in 30 seconds. Sit down, place your hand on your chest. Inhale gently for a count of 4. Hold for a moment, then exhale for a count of 6. Do this a few times, and notice the way your body shifts. The message is clear: I am safe. I can rest. I can receive. Your mind will follow, releasing its frantic chase. Your heart will follow, opening to resonance. And slowly, the field around you will follow, mirroring the coherence you carry inside. Breath reminds us that healing is not about striving, but about returning to the body, returning to presence, returning to trust. It dissolves the illusion that you must force your way to joy. Joy is not captured. It is received when you are calm enough to hold it. Breath prepares you for that holding. I have walked through nights of grief, where breath was the only prayer I could manage. No words, no affirmations, no visions, just breath. And still, it was enough. With each inhale, I allowed life to enter me again. And with each exhale, I let go of what I could not carry. Slowly, quietly, breath carried me back to myself. That is why I speak of it now, not as theory, but as lived truth. So remember this: every breath is a choice, a signal, a bridge. Choose shallow breaths, and you remain in survival. Choose slow, conscious breaths, and you step into coherence. Through that coherence, the mind and body find each other again. And together, they create a signal strong enough to reshape reality. Breathe, and you are no longer a prisoner of fear. Breathe, and you become a receiver of love. Breathe, and you open the door to abundance that no amount of forcing could ever unlock. Breath is not just air, it is alignment. It is surrender. It is the bridge back home to yourself. 5. The vibrational identity. The universe reflects what you are. One of the simplest but hardest truths I have ever had to face is this: life does not give you what you beg for. It gives you what you are. The universe is less like a parent listening to requests and more like a mirror reflecting the frequency you continually broadcast. You may cry out for abundance, but if your inner state is soaked in lack, the reflection that returns will only affirm scarcity. You may visualize love, but if your nervous system is tuned to rejection and fear, you will keep meeting the same lonely patterns. This is not punishment. It is resonance. I used to think that if I wanted something badly enough, life would eventually reward me. I repeated the siddhis like mantras, trying to convince reality with my words. But I learned, through painful repetition, that the universe is not persuaded by desperation. It listens beneath the surface. It listens to the identity you are inhabiting in your body, in your heart, in your very cells. And that identity is vibrational. Think of yourself as a tuning fork. Strike one, and another nearby begins to vibrate in sympathy. That's resonance. The universe works the same way. If your vibration is set to fear, you will notice more reasons to fear. If it is set to gratitude, opportunities for gratitude appear like echoes. And if it is set to enoughness, if you live as though you are already whole, then wholeness greets you in countless forms. This is why the old self, the self trapped in scarcity, is so hard to outthink. You can't simply repeat new beliefs while carrying the old vibration. It is like trying to sing a joyful song while your body is still trembling with grief. The sound won't carry. The frequency won't land. Until you shift your vibrational identity, the song of your life stays the same. But here is the gentle beauty. Identity is not fixed. It is not carved in stone. It is shaped by what you consistently feel, what you practice inhabiting day after day. If you wake each morning rehearsing thoughts of fear, your nervous system builds a home in fear. If you wake each morning allowing even 30 seconds of genuine appreciation, your body begins to learn that safety and abundance are natural places to live. The more familiar that feeling becomes, the more it defines who you are. And once it defines you, life has no choice but to reflect it. I have seen this in my own life, in ways that left me humbled. There were years when I lived in the vibration of lack. No matter how much money I earned, it felt as if it slipped away. No matter how many people surrounded me, loneliness still echoed inside. I thought the answer was to strive harder, earn more, find better people, but I was broadcasting emptiness. And so, emptiness returned. It was only when I began to live differently, not outwardly, but inwardly, that the reflection changed. When I started to walk through my day as if I was already cared for, already supported, already enough, I noticed life responding in kind. Opportunities felt easier. Relationships deepened. Even my health shifted. Nothing outside truly changed. At first I changed, and the outside simply mirrored it back. This is the essence of vibrational identity. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. That truth can feel uncomfortable because it removes the illusion of blaming life for our circumstances, but it also brings freedom because it places the power back where it belongs inside you. So how do you step into a new vibrational identity? You begin with embodiment, not imagination. The mind loves to imagine, but the body must believe. Ask yourself, if I were already living the reality I long for, how would I breathe? How would I walk? How would my shoulders rest? How would my voice sound? Then practice those things now. Before life has given you proof. The body learns by repetition. Each time you inhabit that future state, you teach your cells a new normal. Over time, that normal becomes your identity. This is why Neville Goddard spoke of living from the end. He wasn't asking you to pretend. He was asking you to embody the frequency of your desired self until your body no longer waits for evidence. Joe Dispenza calls it rehearsing the future. Abraham Hicks calls it getting into the vortex. The language differs, but the principle remains. You don't wait for the reflection to change before you shift inside. You shift inside, and the reflection must follow. I often tell people to think of vibrational identity as a home. You may visit abundance occasionally, but if you live in lack, that is, the address the universe keeps delivering to change your life, you don't just need to visit abundance, you need to move in. You need to set up furniture in gratitude, sleep each night in the bed of enoughness, cook meals in the kitchen of love. The more time you spend there, the more it feels like home, and the more naturally the universe knows where to find you. There is no shortcut around this. You cannot trick the field with words. You cannot fake it until you make it. Because the field listens to vibration, not performance. But you can train your vibration the way a musician trains their ear, patiently, consistently, until the notes of your being ring clear. If you are feeling weary of your own patterns, if you are tired of the same reflections, let this truth be a balm: you are not broken. You are simply broadcasting an identity you no longer want. And you can change the station. You can breathe into your chest, soften your body, and practice living as if you are already free. The field will notice, the reflection will shift, not overnight perhaps, but inevitably, because resonance has no choice but to respond. The universe is not far away, holding blessings in some secret vault. It is right here, mirroring you faithfully. If you want a new reflection, become the new vibration. And when you do, life will not resist you. It will meet you with open arms, because it always has. 6. Stillness, the silent frequency of power. Transformation does not arrive with a shout. It does not need your voice to rise louder than the noise of the world. Real change begins in silence. It begins in the moment when you no longer push, no longer plead, no longer demand, but sit quietly and breathe. Stillness is the frequency most people overlook, because it looks like nothing, and yet, beneath the surface, it is everything. I used to believe that if I wanted life to move, I had to move louder, faster, harder. I thought my words would convince the universe. My affirmations would force the doors open. But all I did was exhaust myself. Life stayed the same, because inside, I stayed the same. It was only when I began to practice stillness, not the empty kind of waiting, but the full-bodied stillness of being, that I realized what true power feels like. It was not in shouting at reality, but in becoming a steady vibration that reality could not resist reflecting. In stillness, you no longer have to convince the universe. You no longer stand as a beggar asking for a change in fortune. You become the change. You embody the vibration of what you desire, not by speaking it, but by resting in it. Imagine the difference between a flame that flickers wildly in the wind and one that burns quietly, steadily. The steady flame illuminates more clearly. Stillness is that steady flame within you. This is not about passivity. It is not about doing nothing or surrendering your will. It is about a deeper alignment, a choice to stop fighting against yourself and the natural flow of life. When you sit in stillness, your breath becomes an anchor. Your heart finds its rhythm. Your nervous system softens. In that softness, your body broadcasts a clear and coherent frequency. The universe, like a mirror, reflects that clarity back to you. Think of a pond. Throw stones into it, and the water ripples chaotically, scattering reflections. But leave it undisturbed, and it becomes smooth as glass, reflecting the sky with perfect clarity. Most of us live as though we are constantly throwing stones, our fears, or doute, our endless mental chatter, stirring the waters of our inner world. Stillness is setting the stones down, letting the water calm, and watching as the true reflection of life appears. Science even shows us the value of this. When the body enters stillness through slow breath, through meditation, through quiet awareness, the brain waves shift. Stress hormones decline. Heart-Rhythms synchronized. The field of energy around you becomes ordered, coherent, magnetic. In this state, you are no longer leaking energy into conflict. You are gathering it, focusing it, becoming a powerful transmitter of peace. And peace is not weak. Peace is the strongest frequency there is. I have walked through nights when the noise inside me was unbearable, fear screaming, doubts circling, grief weighing heavy on my chest. In those nights, no words could calm me. No positive thought could reach me. But when I surrendered to silence, when I simply breathed and allowed myself to be, something remarkable happened. Slowly, the noise began to dissolve, not because I silenced it by force, but because stillness held it like a mother holds a crying child. And in that holding, the cries lost their power. What remained was presence, quiet, steady, alive. This is the paradox. Stillness is not empty. It is full of clarity, full of presence, full of power. When you allow yourself to rest in it, you stop scattering energy in every direction. You stop pleading for reality to change. You start embodying the reality you long for, and the field around you cannot help but reflect it. Some of the greatest moments of transformation in my life did not come with grand rituals or dramatic affirmations. They came in the quiet spaces, in the pause between breaths, in the stillness of a dawn when the world was not yet awake, in the silence of simply sitting and feeling enough. Those were the moments when I realized that life responds not to what we shout, but to who we are in our quietest state. Stillness is also the space where intuition speaks. The mind is loud, full of demands and calculations, but the wisdom of the heart whispers. You cannot hear it if you are always running, always shouting, always filling the silence with noise. In stillness, the whisper becomes audible. Guidance emerges. Insights arrive, not from force but from receptivity. You become a receiver for the intelligence that has always been flowing through life. If you are weary from striving, if your affirmations feel hollow, if your chasing has led only to exhaustion, let stillness be your refuge. Sit down, close your eyes, feel your breath move gently in and out of your chest. Release the need to solve, to fix, to prove. Rest in the presence of your own being. Let your body learn what it feels like to be safe, to be enough, to simply exist. That feeling is not weakness. It is the foundation of all true manifestation. Because when you become still, you become coherent. When you are coherent, your vibration is clear. And when your vibration is clear, the universe has no choice but to reflect it back. You do not need to shout at the mirror to change. You simply need to change the stance of the one standing before it. So remember, stillness is not the absence of power. It is the silent frequency of power itself. It is not waiting for life to change. It is embodying the change. It is not commanding the universe. It is allowing the universe to mirror what is already alive within you. And when you live from that stillness, you discover a truth so simple, it can heal a lifetime of striving. You already are what you seek. You only needed to be still enough to feel it. 7. Connection with Earth and the universe. There is a moment that comes when the heart and brain fall into harmony, and the rhythm inside you begins to echo something much larger. It is not only your own coherence that you feel, but the resonance of the earth herself, beneath the soil, beyond the oceans, surrounding the mountains and forests. The planet hums with its own steady pulse. Scientists call it the Schumann resonance, the electromagnetic heartbeat of the earth. Mystics have felt it for centuries, standing barefoot in the grass, resting under trees, or watching the tide roll in. When your inner rhythms align with this natural frequency, you do not just feel calm, you feel at home. This is why stepping into nature so often feels like medicine. It is not only the beauty of the landscape or the absence of noise, it is the retuning of your own system. When your heart beats in chaos, the forest reminds you of order. When your thoughts run wild, the river teaches you to flow. When your body tightens in fear, the wind whispers safety. In these moments, coherence is not something you create, it is something you remember. I have walked through heavy seasons where my mind would not rest, where anxiety held me in its grip. In those times, I found myself drawn outside. I would sit beneath the sky, the weight of my thoughts pressing down, until slowly, the sound of birdsong, the rhythm of my breath, and the quiet presence of the earth beneath me began to merge. It was as though the planet herself was lending me her strength, steadying my nervous system until I could find my own rhythm again. That is not fantasy. That is resonance. When the heart is coherent, its electromagnetic field begins to synchronize not only with the brain but with the field of the earth. This is more than poetic language. Studies have measured it. The human heart is sensitive enough to register the planet's fluctuations, and when you find balance within yourself, you are not simply an individual calming down. You are a participant in a universal song. Your personal frequency becomes part of a much larger orchestra, and it goes beyond the earth. Coherence connects you with the wider universe. Modern physics suggests that at the quantum level, everything is entangled. Particles separated by distance still affect one another, as if space itself is just a veil. When your vibration becomes coherent, you are not only in resonance with the Earth's heartbeat, but with the fabric of the cosmos. This is why moments of deep coherence can bring sudden insight, synchronicities, and even experiences that feel like glimpses of the future. You are not forcing these moments, they arise because you are in tune with a field that stretches beyond time and space. I think often of the phrase, as above, so below. When you breathe deeply and enter stillness, when your heart and brain are in harmony, you embody this truth. The coherence inside mirrors the coherence outside. The earth steadies you, and you steady the earth. The cosmos expands within you, and you expand within the cosmos. It is not a mystical escape. It is the most natural remembering of who you are, not separate, but connected. This is why so many of us feel sudden peace when we stand barefoot on the ground or sit by the ocean. It is not merely psychological, it is biological, vibrational. The field of your heart senses the field of the earth, and the two align. In that alignment, tension releases, clarity emerges, and the simple joys of life become accessible again. You notice synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that feel like gentle nods from the universe. You feel supported, guided, even loved, without a single word being spoken. The tragedy of modern life is that we have built walls between ourselves and this connection. Concrete, screens, noise. All of it drowns out the subtle hum of resonance. We live in our heads, disconnected from the ground beneath our feet, forgetting that the earth is not just a resource, but a companion. Not just the stage of life, but part of the play itself. And yet, the invitation is always there. Step outside. Breathe. Feel your feet against the soil. Remember that your body is not separate from the earth. It is made of it. The minerals in your bones, the water in your blood, the carbon in your cells, they are the earth, wearing your face. When you live in coherence, You do not need to command the universe. You simply align with it. The field reflects what you are, and what you are becomes clear, steady, magnetic. Life responds not as an external force granting favors, but as a mirror showing you your own alignment. And the more you rest in this connection with yourself, with the earth, with the cosmos, the more naturally miracles unfold. Not dramatic, not forced, but subtle and steady, like the sunrise returning each morning. So the next time you feel lost or heavy, remember this truth: you are not alone, and you are not separate. The same rhythm that beats in your chest beats in the ground beneath your feet. The same frequency that steadies the earth steadies you. When you fall into coherence, you are returning home not only to yourself, but to the living field that holds us all. And in that homecoming, peace is no longer something you chase. It is something you are. The earth reflects it, the universe reflects it, and slowly, gently, the life around you begins to mirror the wholeness you have always carried inside. 8. Simple daily practice. Real transformation rarely comes from dramatic gestures or sudden leaps. It grows in the quiet choices you make each day, in the way you greet the morning, in how you pause before reacting, in the breath you take before you fall asleep. The universe does not measure your worth by grand rituals or endless effort. It responds to the frequency you carry in ordinary moments. And the way you carry that frequency is through practice. Small, simple, consiste de practice. When you wake in the morning, before the weight of the day rushes in, take a moment to notice something you are grateful for. It does not need to be large. It could be the way the light breaks gently through your window. It could be the sound of a bird outside. It could be nothing more than the fact that you are alive, that breath is moving in and out of you. Gratitude is not about inventorying blessings. It is about pausing long enough to recognize that life itself is a gift. And when you recognize it, your body responds. Your heart rhythm steadies. Your nervous system begins the day in safety rather than in survival. Let that feeling of gratitude linger. 30 seconds is enough. Feel it expand in your chest like a soft warmth. Hold it not with force, but with presence, the way you might hold a child gently, attentively, without distraction. Then, as you breathe, allow yourself to imagine a reality you long for, not as a fantasy far away, but as though it is already happening now. Ask yourself, if this were real today, how would I feel in my body? How would my breath flow? How would my face soften? How would I walk through my day? Let those sensations fill you. This is not pretending. This is training your nervous system to recognize the frequency of your desired life as if it has already arrived. I know this may sound too simple. For years, I dismissed practices like these. I thought I needed to work harder, to think bigger, to plan better. But what I discovered is that small daily coherence reshapes everything. When you carry gratitude into your morning, when you hold even half a minute of resonance between thought and feeling, you are recalibrating your entire system. The universe doesn't need your effort, it needs your coherence. And coherence grows from repetition, not force. Throughout the day, return to these moments of practice. Perhaps while you are drinking water, pause to really taste it, to feel its coolness as it nourishes your body. Perhaps as you step outside, let the air on your skin remind you that you belong here, that life is holding you. These are not trivial gestures. They are anchors, reminders that abundance and safety are available in the present moment. Each time you do this, you are sending a signal. This is my frequency. This is my identity. And the field responds, slowly at first, almost imperceptibly, and then with growing momentum, you begin to notice synchronicities, small alignments that feel like whispers from life itself. The right person calls at the right moment. The obstacle you feared dissolves quietly. Joy begins to arrive unannounced, not as a reward but as a reflection. The beauty of simple practice is that it meets you where you are. You do not need to wait for the perfect setting, or hours of free time, or a retreat in the mountains. You can practice in your living room, at your desk. Even while standing in line at the grocery store, the world may see nothing unusual, but within you, coherence is building, moment by moment, breath by breath. I remember once sitting in a crowded bus, the noise and impatience around me pressing in. My mind wanted to join the tension, to hurry, to complain. But instead, I closed my eyes for just a few seconds. I placed my awareness in my chest. I breathed slowly, and I thought of one simple thing, the laughter of someone I love. My body softened, my breath steadied, and though nothing on the bus had changed, the world inside me had. That shift carried me through the day with a different presence. This is the quiet power of daily practice. It doesn't need to change the world instantly. It changes the way you move through it. Consistency is the secret. A single practice can bring peace, but repeated practice builds identity. It rewires the body until coherence becomes natural. And when coherence is natural, manifestation is no longer something you chase. It becomes the natural unfolding of who you are. So begin where you are. Begin with gratitude for something small. Breathe it into your chest. Hold it gently for 30 seconds. Then, let your body feel the life you desire, as though it is here now. Walk through your day, carrying that frequency, and return to it whenever you remember. Do not worry about perfection. Do not judge yourself for forgetting. Each return is practice. Each practice is a seed, and every seed, given time, becomes a harvest. Life does not ask for drama. It asks for alignment, and alignment is built not in leaps but in steps, not in noise but in quiet choices. Simple practice, live daily, is how you teach your body to trust the future before it arrives. How you embody abundance before it manifests. How you become the vibration that life reflects. So let today be your practice. Let gratitude guide your breath. Let your breath guide your presence. And let your presence become the signal the universe cannot help but echo. In this way, one small moment, repeated again and again, becomes the very path that carries you into a life of coherence, peace, and fulfillment. The door was always waiting. You do not have to beg the universe to notice you. You do not have to push, plead, or strain to convince life to give you what you long for. The truth, simple and liberating, is that you only need to become the frequency of the version of yourself you wish to live. When thought, emotion, and presence fall into rhythm, your body becomes a finely tuned antenna, clear enough to broadcast one signal without distortion. And once that signal is steady, the universe has only one task: to reflect it back. I used to live as if the universe was far away, as if I had to win its favor through effort, through endless affirmations, through strategies and plans that left me tired but unfulfilled. What I learned is that life does not respond to the mask of desire. It responds to the vibration beneath it. No amount of words could undo the static of my fear. No vision board could override the contraction in my chest. But when I began to soften, to breathe, to align my thoughts with the feelings that lived in my heart, something shifted. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, like the gentle moment when dawn replaces night. And yet, everything in my life began to reflect the change. The greatest power you will ever know is not in the loudness of your affirmations, not in the number of goals you set or the plans you create. It is in coherence, the simple, healing harmony between your heart and your mind, between the electricity of your thoughts and the magnetism of your feelings, between the self you are and the self you are becoming. In that coherence, you no longer chase life. You allow it. You no longer try to pull the river in your direction. You step into its current and let it carry you. Remember this: you do not attract what you want. You attract what you consistently feel. Desire alone does not move the field. Vibration does. If you live in the frequency of lack, lack will echo back. If you embody the frequency of gratitude, more reasons for gratitude will appear. And when you choose coherence, when you live as though you already are the version of yourself you dream of, then the door opens, not because you forced it, but because it was always waiting. I know how tempting it is to think that you must do more, improve more, fix more, before life can bless you. But the truth I have learned, after walking through my own shadows, is that life does not demand that you be perfect. It asks only that you be aligned with love, with gratitude, with the quiet knowing that you are not separate from creation, but a living expression of it. When you stand in that alignment, the universe stops being something outside of you and reveals itself as the reflection of who you already are. So as you leave this message and step back into your day, carry this with you. You do not need to wrestle life into shape. You do not need to shout louder than your fear. You only need to breathe, to soften, to let your thoughts and feelings find each other in your chest. Practice coherence. Even in small moments, let gratitude color your mornings. Let compassion guide your steps. Let stillness anchor your evenings. Each simple act is a frequency, and each frequency is a doorway. The life you long for is not distant. It is already here, waiting for you to match it, waiting for you to feel it, to embody it, to live as though it is yours now. And the moment you do, the reflection becomes undeniable. You walk into a world that feels less like struggle and more like home. In the end, the secret is not complicated. You are not here to beg reality for change. You are here to embody the change, to become the vibration that makes reality bow in response. And once you do, you will see that the universe was never withholding anything. It was waiting for you to choose coherence, to choose alignment, to choose the simple, steady power of being. So breathe into your heart, feel the frequency of the self you long to be, and know that the moment you rest in that vibration, the door opens. Not tomorrow, not someday now, because the truth is, the door was never locked. It has always been waiting for you to walk through.